lot of movement because of where they struggled yesterday on the gymnastics event 4.
They took a 30th place in last night's event, so really looking for a redemption today, and there's no reason they can't do it with these two events. Lauren Fisher's shoulder has been the talk of the team, and in this event, I expect to see her do her squat. She's lined up second, so she will. Should have no problems then. The shoulder shouldn't be a factor for any of the running either. They put up big numbers whenever we see them lift, so I do expect them to be among the top, if not at the top, with
10 seconds.
some of the others: CrossFit Freedom, Mayhem Independence.
Stand by.
Number to beat, 1,325 total pounds, combining the 4 lifts. Best lift for each of your athletes. 245, nice and easy in the air for Annie Thorisdottir in the back row.
10 seconds.
We're going to lift in quads of athletes here, 4 teams at a time, everyone jerking. AB CrossFit in the foreground here, going for 225 pounds.
Urban Energy, the Australian team, stepping up to 325 on the barbell.
And that's nice and easy for AB's Laura Sanchez.
10 seconds.
These are 30-second lifting windows that rotate and roll through. What it amounts to is that you get 2 minutes of rest after you lift.
It's really important that they make this first lift, like Jeremy said. They cannot reattempt another lift within the window. So they have to know their lifts, what they can come out under nerves, the pressure.
235 there for Winter Rodriguez, good for move fast, lift heavy. That immediately puts her into second place. Annie Thorisdottir still has Reykjavik in first at 245. All but 3 teams have eclipsed 200 pounds thus far.
Maybe that hit of adrenaline as well is going to help, knowing you've only got 2 lifts to get. A great position overhead, nice and strong, maybe a little light for the first attempt. But as I mentioned earlier, you've got to nail something first to get 3 digits added to your team score.
Let me steal something from Mads Jacobsen back in the semifinals. You have to hit a weight you know you can hit, you think you can hit, and you hope you can hit. Obviously, you only have 2 rounds here, not 3. The interesting thing the second time through, do you go with something you think you can hit or you hope you can hit? And does it all depend on how good the weight you know you can hit was?
Good question.
Yes. Yes, somewhere in the middle. It really does. Because if you go off that lift that you know and you're like, shoot, that was actually way easier than I thought, then you go for it, you push a little farther. But that comes down to experience and knowing yourself and what your body is capable of doing under pressure.
And what kind of jumps do you make in that? 15 pounds. See where that lands things for Annie Thorisdottir. 260 for a jerk.
Good day. That was nice.
And a no rep to the right.
KT CrossFit.
It's the Russian team. This is Laura Sanchez at 245 from AB CrossFit. Fittest in Venezuela just 2 years ago.
It's really important to keep that barbell close to your face, not get too far in front.
And that back leg just buckled.
Urban as well to the far left. Caitlin Van Zyl failing hers at 250. They did come in as the #1 qualified team out of the Oceanic region after the complex. So 250, that's crucial for them.
Now move fast, lift hezzy here with 250 for Winter Rodriguez. And that is good. Vaults are in front of Mayhem Independence, back into second place, 10 pounds off of Annie Thorisdottir's lead for Reykjavik.
10 seconds.
See what kind of shots we get taken here from Mayhem Independence. I didn't see who lifted, if it was Sasha or Alexis. I would venture a guess Sasha Nieves is taking the jerks for Independence. No, it's Alexis Johnson.
It is.
255. And she does hit for Mayhem Independence.
Nice. She held on to that too. That was a fight.
Omnia also good, by the way, at 255.
Three, two, one.
On the barbell. We have freedom. 255.
Taylor Williamson in the back corner. Good at 250.
240 on the barbell. Push it back all the way down to 17 and 18.
And we'll now move on to the front squats here. 5 minutes into this 20-minute rolling event. And we'll start at 245 pounds here in lane 18 with KT Kolesnikov team. 250 behind for Lauren Fisher. And that comes up easy for Reykjavik.
They needed that one.
And Lauren needs that too. She needs that
massive confidence hit last night.
Absolutely. So much hype with them coming into this competition. Looking to make a run. She moved to Iceland. Just so much that she's given to this year that they all have.
255 for Maria Quintero.
Stay with it, yes.
Elbow position, magnificent, making sure those elbows are facing forward just to get that barbell high on the rack position and closer to your center of mass to make the squat easier.
Tell you what, they've got an underrated female pair, Quintero and Sanchez, national champions in Venezuela and Colombia, and both incredibly young. Youth movement in this sport.
Talk about progression of front squat. We start with broomsticks or PVC pipes, and the progression slowly grows until you can start lifting body weight, and then you add some percentages of your body weight. But you never stop wanting the urge to get stronger. The stronger you are, the easier life is.
3, 2, 1.
One of the 9 foundational movements of CrossFit, starting with the air squat, moving the progression to the front squat. Elbows, great positioning.
Good there for CrossFit Portee, Laura Isaposu. 5'10" right now is still the number to beat for Reykjavik on their combined weight. AB hanging right with them at 480.
3, 2, 1.
275 on the bar for Andrea Nisler in the back. 280 in the foreground. And Nisler drives that up easily.
280 is good for Oslo.
And Freedom now jumps into first place when you combine that with Taylor Williamson from the jerk blocks at 250.
We'll see what Fisher does now.
260 pounds.
10-pound jump.
She's always been known for her lifting prowess. And that is why. Lauren Fisher, CrossFit Reykjavik. We're only halfway through the event, but a massive bounce back for them. Holding on to a top 3 position.
And you talk about quality teams coming in, it's not just for individuals. You've got to be able to gel, and when you do get a knockback like they did last night, this is the best way to boost those spirits and get them back into competition.
Now 260 for Quintero. Great fight. Knees out. That second drive. You saw her start to cave a little bit. And the push to finish it off.
We're going this way instead.
Navy Blue with 520 thus far. They're only 5 pounds off pace, 15 points out of first place on the overall leaderboard. 275 was just good.
10 seconds.
CrossFit Tyrannus.
3, 2, 1.
So Navy Blue and Reykjavik are tied at 520. Mayhem Freedom is 5 pounds in front. 290.
Number 6.
This is CrossFit Oslo in front. So 290 for both Nisler and Leanna Richter. If they both hit this, it'll still be a 5-pound Mayhem lead.
Easy day for Nisler.
She's great. Richter, a lot of time under tension.
Good for
and she
her.
still drives through it to finish.
Not what I expected from Oslo Navy Blue. Worked on their strength. Very, very strong lift.
Remember, these women have gone head-to-head at Wadapalooza with Kristen Holta. They beat Mayhem with Haley Adams.
Interesting breathing as well with this front squat. The breath wasn't exhaled until that barbell was on the platform.
All right, we're now into the men jerking. Tola Morikano just did 365 like it was 110. What do we put on the bar for the second attempt?
You've got to strategize that way. I think that was like you've got to know that's going to be too light. But that thing in the back of your mind just niggling going, what if you miss this? What is your team going to do to you?
And the team strategy from here now is what the other teams are doing. They don't know that. They don't know the math, what all the other ladies did and what they already made.
It's funny, Khan Porter's looking all the way down the field to see what everyone else is loading on his bar.
If you can see, or if you have somebody in the crowd that can help you with that to kind of give you a little, if your coach can see and kind of be doing some math.
But it's always hard to see from the side. You don't know what's on there.
And just saw Yvonne Verdun in the front for AB CrossFit. It was Urban Energy that I think just had that better than 300-pound lift. Now Christian Harris at 315. Again, the number we're trying to reach is Milford Conqueror at 1325. Yeah, that was easy.
The stand-up, he nearly got it overhead.
Yeah, does he get credit for a front squat as well?
10 seconds. Three, two, one.
335 on the bar for Porti. First team in Finland to qualify for the games. 335 is elevated.
It was like a half hybrid press jerk. That was a very easy lift. His feet didn't move too much either. So split, full split not required.
3, 2, 1.
350 for Samuel Cournoyer. Mayhem at this juncture, 540 pounds. Put that on that tally. So 890 puts Mayhem Freedom back in the lead.
10 seconds.
Now, also, how do you judge your shots here based on everybody else? We're starting to get to that point where you're running out of rounds. Invictus has now come from behind a little bit to announce their presence. Yes, you're taking shots based on what you're able to, but you also have to start treating this like a race because Tola Morikano just put 405 pounds in the air.
I knew that first one was too light. That's ridiculous. They're going to spring in their step.
That was unbelievable. He's peaking.
I don't know. I was going to say you have to race people, but you can't race that.
That was a massive jump.
My Lord, have mercy.
Johan Van Ziel.
Oh.
And he just went stanky leg.
Now, here's that they can have another athlete come help.
It's Adam Mancy coming in to help.
I want to go back to Morikano's lift, though, real quick. Because for him to make that big a jump, I understand
jump,
the first
yes.
one was light, but the jump in and of itself is a jolt to the system.
Super impressive.
Good at 345, 370. No. What happens when you get that bar overhead, but you can't get yourself underneath it firmly?
Depends where you place the barbell. If it's too far in front, which is normally the case because your elbows are dipping on that dip drive, you're out in front and your body position, you cannot get underneath it enough to stabilize. I mentioned before about getting that bar into the center of mass as quickly as you can. In the failed lift there, the head was way
Head
back.
too far back.
So you need to make sure that line of mass, if you dissect your body from the side, and the press half jerk,
Yeah, he does
1
it.
foot step.
I know.
Good for Escalinen. I was going to say, like, he only kicked his leg halfway back, and I'm thinking this isn't going to work. And then he just pushed it overhead like it was nothing.
Flexibility though there.
Yeah. Joshua Alshama here. 385 for Invictus, currently in third place. Cornoyer just hit a massive lift back left. Invictus losing their minds, though, just putting up some huge weights across the board at the end of the final round on the jerk.
And I believe Sam Cornoyer put up 370.
Lucas Parker's fired up. Excuse me, Luke Parker, different people, fired up for Mayhem Independence. And we're now onto the front squats, opening up with 425.
45 is good for Reykjavik, but KT will not be denied 425 pounds.
Yikes. 12:15 is now on the board for the Kolesnikov team. 13:25, however, is the ultimate number to beat, keeping in mind that second place is 12:55. There's a big margin in between.
CrossFit 375, but overtake.
Mariano Centella.
His teammate who put up 375 earlier on at 405.
Strong base. 405, also coming up in the back.
Stands it up 405 pounds with one more attempt to go.
10 seconds.
Overtake team density.
3, 2, 2.
Now in first place after that lift at 405 pounds. KT with the 425. This is 435. Move fast, lift heavy is good. Will Carter, when you put that much weight on the bar for a front squat, you got to put that much chalk on the shoulders to keep that thing in place. Move fast, lift heavy is now in second place behind Overtake, 10 pounds the difference.
3, 2, 1.
Now we've got 290 in the back right corner. That's Frederick Dubé. Pro 1 on the men's side. Strength is not the biggest strength. They're going to try to make up some ground on the run next.
290, excuse me, for Montreal. 365 for CrossFit Omnia.
Heard Omnia 365. 340 is also good. That's 8th day. Michael Paz in front.
3, 2, 2.
They had a strong day yesterday.
Had a great day yesterday. 6th place overall. Working their way up from the final heat. Rich Froning in the back. Going to open up at 370. 365 for Rheimdahl.
Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for all of our men on their first attempts as we send it down the way for
All right, so Invictus used Jorge Fernandez's lift to jump up by 10 pounds over Mayhem Freedom. 405 on the opening front squat for Jorge Fernandez.
It seems as though Reykjavik has missed their first squat with Khan Porter.
So this is going to be huge for Khan in the back.
Got it at 370.
Yes. So Reykjavik at least has something on the board there. Kolesnikov team also hits huge, now in third at 12:45.
You talk about pressure coming in, especially when you're trying to climb up the leaderboard from 17th, and Khan Porter misses that first front squat, and the whole team's breathing down your neck.
Yeah, good on him.
You need to make this.
Otherwise, you're sitting there at 890 pounds, and that ain't going to do it. 380 for Urban Energy. Adam Manzi. Adam Manzi stands it up. But did they no rep that?
On depth.
For depth.
Yes. Oh. 380 pounds, and he stood up too soon.
3, 2, 1.
That's devastating with Johan missing his jerk, and now Adam missing that squat.
So Urban Energy stuck at 1140 as their total weight. 455, not going to go up for Carter. The striking dichotomy of like a near 100-pound difference on platforms next to one another.
an opportunity to use your strength where you've got them. Some of these people are just, these athletes just are really strong in their squat. That 455 though, Jeremy, that was
Unbelievable.
That's a good 315 for Dubé in the back. 350 here for Mike Paz.
We got to think with CrossFit, it's one size fits all. You're going to have strengths, you're going to have weaknesses. You need to attack your weaknesses, but also maintain your strength. Just because you're good at squatting doesn't mean you stop squatting. You've got to keep doing that.
All right, Jorge Fernandez is off to the right. He hit at 405 to put Invictus in first. You've got 380 up front here for Avon. 390 for Froning, like it's nothing at all. Miss at 365 in the back. Fernandez is good for Invictus. Oslo, yes, at 380. Invictus is absolutely fired up because that should secure an event win for a team in podium contention on the start of day 2.
Ooh, huge for Invictus.
403 pounds for Jorge Fernandez.
Unbelievable.
I mean, he was a baseball pitcher, drive with your legs, right? But still. Like, they ain't all doing that.
Wow, no, that was a great lift. Invictus, one of the teams that we said was a stronger team. Expected to see them up there at the top of the leaderboard when it comes to this strength event, like they always are. But now we need to quickly shift gears. Mayhem, once again, Mayhem Freedom in second place. Solid second place across the board.
I would keep an eye on Invictus in this particular run, just because the Sea of Green was 5th, 7th, and came in 4th at the end of day 1. They just picked up an event victory, and they were phenomenal on the running event last year. Invictus could put themselves maybe in a spot for a leader's jersey. How do they do it?
Well, the recipe for success here is going to be correct run strategy. And while Invictus has many years of competition experience as a team here at the Games, Reykjavik doesn't. So I really hope they do choose the right strategy and use it well. They need to know their running capacity and capability.
Well, we saw that in heat number 1 where they had some teams actually had to change their strategy based upon how they felt on the first lap. Oslo. Can they do what their other team has done?
They came in 5th in the lift.
But they came in today in second place. They demolished the run event last year with the handstand walks and the 1.5 mile runs. They're all strong runners, so you know that they're looking at purple-red. They're saying, okay, we need to beat you guys.
Yeah.
They have a time to beat, but everyone else here in this heat as well.
You mentioned that you've given us the time to beat. Now we know what we have to pace off.
Yes.
So really good having that extra team at your affiliate that you know what numbers you need to hit to make sure you get above that first heat number.
1904 is the time to beat. 1907 is currently second place between Oslo Purple Red and West Chase.
Now remember, the good news here is you have the entire field, so we just saw Mayhem Freedom finishing up at running out of it, but as long as they pass people, they know they're ahead of them, because when they come back into the field, then they'll be in the first lane.
And we saw that play out in the first heat today, and we saw it play out yesterday. It's exactly how Ricky Garrard beat Jonakoski, because Jona got back into North Park, had to run to a further lane than Ricky did, and Garrard passed him.
Transitioning from event number 2 to number 3, 1,600 meters, all 4 team members joined by a rope, and they've got to get around for that first lap. Once they do get back, any 2 team members have to carry that rope for the second 1 mile or 1,600 meter lap. And finally, 2 team members have probably rested about 6.5 minutes, and they've got to back up. And the anchor leg, probably the most important leg, and bringing the team home. Selwyn now taking the lead.
I've got the cycling bloodline, so the cardio in there. The Fowler brothers, whose father was an Olympic cyclist. They didn't get into cycling, but you figure they can go out there and give it a good run.
Now here's the thing, anytime that there's mass running in any games or any competition, it's so easy to get caught up in the pace of the event rather than the pace you should be running. All of these athletes have a sweet window that they should be running. They should know their tempos. And when you watch Mayhem Freedom in the back, just kind of staying there, staying composed is really important to watch that and know that they're seeing the whole field of play ahead of them.
It's almost scary. O2 is the official recovery drink and hydration mix of the Noble CrossFit Games. Visit drinko2.com/CrossFit for $25 site-wide on O2 recovery drinks and hydration mixes.
Speaking to the Selwyn guys yesterday, they were pretty happy with their first event, even though they did have that delay for 3 hours. But they said today is the day they are going to make their move because they've really got a lot more in the tank and a lot more to give. They were expected at Torian Pro, as they were the first place qualifier coming into the Torian Pro. They got knocked about a little bit and they took it for granted what they did in the quarterfinal stage. Coming into that, they said they're not going to make the same mistakes they made at Torian. And they did they did come in the second place position into the qualifying for the CrossFit Games, but they just want to make a mark today and propel themselves up. They're in the top 10 spot, so they're looking pretty good.
Selwyn with a 9th place finish and a 14th place finish for 9th place overall after day 1. The 2 women on that team did compete at the Games last year, Madeline Schelling and Marnie Sykes, and they had a top 10 finish at the Games last year. They've gone to a new gym this year. They've combined with Luke and Ben Fowler. Luke is the smaller, Ben is the taller of the 2. And we talked about their father, an Olympic cyclist, their father Brian, 4-time Olympic cyclist. There's some fitness in those bones. Put that team together, they have hopes of a podium. You can see Reykjavik right behind, Invictus right behind them. No surprise in either of those 2 spots. Annie Thorstadter is going to be the pace setter, you have to imagine, for Reykjavik. Jorge Fernandez is dragging the rope for Invictus.
Are here, CrossFit Oslo Navy Blue, and they're just one of 4 affiliates.
Same track as they did yesterday on the bike leg, so they'll know exactly where to go. Maybe if there were some spots on the course that they did find a little bit of loose gravel or some uneven ground, making sure they keep that track.
Invictus is coming uncomfortably close to the heels of Reykjavik. And Reykjavik's going to swing out wide, try to make a pass here. And it's interesting how you make passes early. This is the first of 3 miles. So how do you jockey? How do you put yourself in position trying to trace down CrossFit Selwyn right now out of Hornby in New Zealand, where it is currently winter.
Oh, it's freezing down there.
Yeah, they said they had to get used to the climate coming up here. Had about a week training camp in the States before coming to Madison.
Interesting story. All 4 qualified as individuals going into the Torian Pro, and it was a last-minute decision. They went, "You want to go team instead?" And they went, "Yeah, why not?" Here they are.
That takes some pressure off. I mean, it's such a different element when you're over on the team because it's such a, you work really hard, then you get a little rest usually. It's just a different style of training, but it's fun, and it brings the fun back to it. So if they already had the mindset of individual, there's just that little bit of pressure probably made that a lot more fun to train.
That's why we get into it in the first place, isn't it? Fun times.
That's what they're going for, the top spot in the standings.
Luke Fowler in front, Ben Fowler, his brother, behind.
Luke's setting a really good pace, and you mentioned it in heat number 1, Tanya, with the relaxing of the shoulders makes it a lot easier to move that upper torso, and Luke out front looks so relaxed. Probably has to get in a few more steps than his taller brother.
Why you got to do it, man?
I got to do it.
They did want to give a shout out, by the way. Their coaches passed. They called him their water boy for the weekend. Bailey Martin, who also competed at the Torian Pro, just missed out on the cut for the CrossFit Games as an individual.
Great experience for him to be here as well, this close to the games, and former CrossFit Games team competitor as well. One of those youngsters, excited to see what he can do in the coming years.
All right, a 6-minute opening mile. How's that strike you?
That's fast. That's really fast. We're going to see now, what do people decide to do? How are they breaking things out? Lauren Fisher, Con Porter go out for mile 2.
I really like this. Khan is on an absolute mission this week. So that is a great thing to do. And knowing that Lauren's got to keep up with him because he's going to set a red hot pace.
I'll let their jets take off. Mayhem Independence.
So we're on the second of these 3 miles. You can pick any of the 2 athletes to run. That is completely up to you. It is completely about the strategy.
Marnie Sykes joining Ben Fowler on the second lap.
Con Porter's with Lauren Fisher. Invictus has gone with their 2 men. So Joshua Alshama, who wears the shades that have the green tint to them with the headband, he runs with Jorge Fernandez. It'll be Devin Kim and Brittany Weiss that will run the anchor leg. Oslo Navy Blue right now, nowhere to be found. Out in the back of the pack, you can see Rich Froning and Mayhem Freedom in the red shorts, middle of screen. They were in the back of the pack to start the run. Part of that is because of where their lane was in North Park, but they have made a move.
They've already picked off about 5 teams. There's Rich.
Overall leaders, it's he and Samuel Cournoyer.
It's funny, when Mayhem left the arena, they were in last position because they were in that first lane.
Yeah, it's all relative, right?
Relative, yes, but they've got to pick off people all the way through their 3-mile run. But they will have a shorter run when they do get into North Park as opposed to everybody else.
Right, it's like you're in last position to the eye, but you're kind of in first position. Like, that's the weird piece to this. Yes, you want to run in the front of the pack, but it's the hidden leader in all of it. Tristan Leclerc and Frederick Dubé from Pro 1 Montreal in the middle of the pack there, also trying to make a move. Top 5 team at the games last season.
The team in the lead, Selwyn, at the moment, they're in lane number 9, so they're not too far away from Mayhem, but starting to bunch up a little.
And that was a 6-minute first mile.
That's quick going.
And that's what we're looking for. Adrian Bosman, programmer of the games, is looking to make the really true test of fitness here, testing their strength and their speed, their endurance. What can they do here? The 3-mile run combined.
Where did Oslo come from? They're now in first.
A great pass just on that last corner. Kant Porter trying to push Lauren Fisher up the hill.
Where did Oslo come from?
Oslo Navy Blue sent their 2 men out there. And 15 seconds ago, I said Oslo Navy Blue nowhere to be found, and they're leading the pack.
I heard you, Joel.
They took that personally. Avendal Ringard is on the right. Nikolai Biladel on the left. You've got Fisher and Porter from Reykjavik chasing them down behind.
Khan probably looking in the best shape I've seen him for many years. He's dropped a lot of body fat, and training over there is probably the best thing he could have done because it's reignited his love and passion, not just for CrossFit, but competing in CrossFit.
And what did he tell us? He said, I'm definitely going back to Reykjavik next year because I love the structure, and I can only imagine what I could do with 12 months in that system. And then you said, team or individual? He was coy.
There was crickets. Bit of silence. So, yeah, watch this space. But he's absolutely loving the atmosphere over there and the structure with his training. And you can tell spring in his step when we did have a chat to him. Navy Blue looking very comfortable out in front. Shoulders relaxed, having a bit of a chat. Most other teams looking fairly laboured at this stage, so not easy to get 2 miles back to back.
Oslo needed that too. A first place in event 1 and 8th place in the second event yesterday, so they were 15 points out of first. Then they took 5th in the lift in their heat. We still have to wait for the official results overall. So making a move here, your O2 recovery to push out in front. And then Con Porter saying, no, they can't get a big lead. He's got the hand in Lauren Fisher's back.
About 20 meters at the moment is their lead, and extending on the traverse back down. The slight rise in the track for this 1 mile run, and they've just hit the peak now. So a little bit easier on the legs as you propel your body, but a great test. And you mentioned that 6-minute distance for the 1.6 kilometre or 1 mile run, and what the body is capable of. Go back to the 1954 British Empire Commonwealth Games.
Of course.
When Roger Bannister and John Landy raced together for the first time, and they both broke the 4-minute mile back then the first time they did it. So 6 minutes for 2 team members at this level is exceptional.
Well, remember,
and almost doing it again, too.
I was going to say, this is a 2 mile run for these athletes.
Got to run the miles back to back here. If you're in the second pair, obviously you get about that 6-minute break. No surprise that Oslo was able to make this move. Dahl Ringard is a soccer player. A guy can run for days. We were told that Billedell is the most athletic man in Norway. So you have that pairing, and they make a move to come in at North Park.
For your leaders, CrossFit Oslo.
So Oslo in front, a little bit longer.
But look at this. CrossFit Independence right behind them.
Yeah, it's Mayhem who sent both their guys out first. So Sasha Nieves and Alexis Johnson are now out. They're in second place. But Parker and DeChico made a move late.
They did.
They were not in the lead pack.
That last section, the downhill portion.
Yep.
Whew.
How many moves have we seen in the last couple of days on that traverse?
And it's not over.
How do you like this pairing? Because Tolomor Akenyo, famously, it's the cardio for him to work on. Time to beat 1904. So he runs with Annie Thorisdottir because you know Annie is going to tug that rope and bring Tola along.
She just has to turn sideways and look at you, and you just have to keep up. You don't want to disappoint her.
Brittany Weiss from Invictus running with Devin Kim behind Reykjavik. And we saw Jorge Fernandez run earlier for Invictus, and the thing he told us that he loves about team competition, right? You get to pull one another here. Last year in the team competition, Brittany Weiss was screaming bloody murder at Jorge Fernandez. Slow down, I need to stop. Jorge ran faster, and he said you can let go of the rope and embarrass yourself and have to catch up, or you can run faster.
Bit of tough love.
And she did, and she thanked him for it afterward. You don't get that on the individual side.
No, you don't. You motivate each other, or you just scare each other. Whatever works. You have to know one another. What works.
Here comes Omnia, Mary Kay Dreisilker with the bun on the top of her head, and Mayhem Freedom right behind. Nistler with the hat, Williamson on the left.
Oslo versus Oslo. Team looking to set the previous top time to beat Oslo Purple Red.
This is the fun part here, running through the RV park. You think anybody has like beard somebody as they've gone through? Like you just toss them a cold one as they're running?
We'll set up a bench so they can get a drink station. Here's a beer for you.
Richter on the left, Hodenmir on the right for Oslo.
Selwyn making a massive move with Luke Fowler and Maddie Schelling.
It's early to push that hard, though. Can they keep that pace? It's easy when you're waiting there to sprint your first 400 meters.
Well, that's how well do you know yourself, right?
Yeah.
But Luke was setting the pace for the team early, so Luke and Maddie are the two best runners in the team. So that wasn't a surprise to see them have a little bit of a rest and really push the pace. They have really closed that gap.
And that was the difference that we said, the two different strategies that you go with. Either you send your stronger runners for the second mile right away or have them rest. But yes, they look super relaxed and they're passing.
And how good does Tolomor Akenyo look on this
Tola
run?
does.
Well, talking about relaxed, when he started that run straight out of North Park, I've not seen a more relaxed human in my life. Just his breathing, shoulder position, arm movement, everything looks just really good. And they've kept in touch with Selwyn as well. Selwyn started to get a little bit of a lead, but they've clawed that back to about 1.5 meters.
Well, Selwyn is in second right now. You saw Leona Richter did have a quick peer back. Annie Thorisdottir is trying to make a pass, though.
The hard part about passing when you have your partner with you is just making sure you're talking and communicating where and when. She's staying right on her heels.
You have that thought coming into your first CrossFit Games experience, and you're running in front of Annie Thorisdottir, who's got so much experience.
Still a high sun with those long shadows here late afternoon in Madison, Wisconsin. This is the second mile for each of these athletes, the third mile for the teams, and the final mile of the event.
We've seen many passes coming in the back section of this course. I want to see what happens for the last probably 400 meters. They should have a fairly good gauge from the bike track yesterday exactly when to go. Don't leave anything in the tank.
Reykjavik picked up 5th place in the first event here, the lift. You can do a pretty good job here. You were 30th in the gymnastics event back at the Coliseum last night. If you pull in a 5th, and like a second or a third, you're right back in contention for that podium spot. And that's what Annie Thorisdottir said last night.
And there's still so much more competition to come. This is only after this one will be 4 events total. We have days of competition ahead of us.
Feels like we're well deep into competition. It's only pretty much, this is the day 1 events that we're doing.
Rain delay
now.
does that to you, right?
Less than 2 minutes for that time to beat. Just over 19 minutes.
1904 is what Oslo Purple Red hit. This is Oslo Navy Blue. Second place at these games last year. We said it yesterday, we will say it again. Last year, second was first for them. This year, first is first. Selwyn hot on their heels.
Don't be surprised now to see Selwyn pick up the pace a little bit. They look like they're clawing closer to Navy Blue and away from the Reykjavik team.
This seems, though, about the same distance as West Chase had between themselves and Oslo Purple Red in the first heat, and try they did. They were unable to close it coming back into North Park.
It's going to be a quick time.
And they're going to smash the time to beat.
As you mentioned, it's probably going to be a 3rd place finish for Reykjavik, so that's going to be a great result for them for getting the 5th spot in event number 2 with the lift.
Now they don't have to run the entire length of the field. They just have to make it back under the Zeus rig and across the red line. 1904 was the time to beat.
Wow.
Oh, they smashed it. Oslo, 2nd event win, here to play.
What an event for them, and one that we expected them
Selwyn,
to
great
do
results.
well. That was. But now we have
8th day.
8th day.
6th place after day 1. Reykjavik comes in as well. Moracano just ran the mile of his life. We still haven't hit the time to beat. So these teams are all just passing Heat 1, and Mayhem Freedom is going to be wounded here. Heading into day 3, Vulnerable, Williamson, and Nisler racing down that first lane in 1909. 2 teams from Heat 1 beat them.
Whoa,
Wow.
shake-up coming.
Wow.
Oh, the girls, they're busted.
If we can quote Joe Rogan in the Octagon, they're hurting. They're hurt.
That speed that this heat went at, well, they started, it was just so fast.
I would never doubt Rich Froning and company, but Oslo Navy Blue has
Navy
thrown
Blue,
down the
yes.
gauntlet and has said, let's go. 2 days of competition in the books, and we've got a fight.
Fantastic event that we knew last year, first place finish in the run event, that this is where they shine. You don't want to give that up, especially on a year that you are coming through. But yes, you're, Jeremy, your face right now, Reykjavik, I know.
I just, like last night after seeing Cam Porter's face, he was just so disappointed. But that grin from ear to ear now, they know they're not out. They're going to fight, and they're going to fight all the way.
They do, but this is the thing for them. They know the events that they need to take because they don't know what's ahead of them. They don't know the struggles that they will face. So every area that they can excel and capitalize on, they need to, and they will.
I'm actually really thankful for the weather yesterday that they've expanded this out for a 2-day competition instead of packing all this in to yesterday. We probably see some different results if they did do it all in one day.
Mayhem Freedom will wind up in 10th place in the event. Pro 1 in 8th, Tyrannus in 6th, Invictus in 5th, 8th day in 4th. These are all the times from this heat. 3rd for Reykjavik, 2nd for Selwyn, and the 2nd of 4 event wins, or 2nd event win in 4 events for Oslo Navy Blue.
Strong and